Hello, friends. I can hardly imagine what emotions grasped the American people following the Civil War. I wonder at the energy expended in the wake of indescribable loss to address the injustice of slavery and the political, social, and economic legacy of America amidst the fraught, delicate, broken process of re-admitting 11 states that had succeeded from the Union. In the aftermath of the war, Reverend Phillips Brooks wrote, "O Little Town of Bethlehem," after visiting the birthplace of Christ, because he was so grief shaken by the death of President Abraham Lincoln. And there in Bethlehem, he attended a Christmas Eve service at the Church of the Nativity that same year. It's just something about the beauty and the simplicity of that visit stayed with him. And then 3 years later, he needed to have a Christmas poem for the children's service at Holy Trinity Church in Philadelphia. And so he couldn't really find someone. So I'll decide to write one myself to deal with what he saw and what he heard from people still grieving from the Civil War. He wanted people to know the nearness of the Lord. I don't think I'm the only one that finds myself tempted to solve and maybe shelve the tragic suffering and problems in favor of, oh, everything's fine. All is better. Progress means problem solved. But I forget, maybe you forget, but I forget that when the Holy Child of Bethlehem comes to us, he arrives in the world exactly how it is. The joy of Advent isn't uncovered in the setting aside of tragic realities, but in response to them. So as you listen and hopefully sing along with this song, remember that. Also remember that abiding in the presence of Jesus with all of your unknown fears and maybe unfulfilled hopes is just like the people in post-Civil War America, struggling with their hopes and dreams, and just like the people in first century Bethlehem. Oh, and don't forget about what you're going through, the growing divisions, maybe in your family, the growing divisions that are happening in our country. And let's be honest, maybe we're tempted just to check out and say, not my problem. If it's not in my neighborhood, it's not my problem. Yet verse 1 in the song, "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem," says, hopes and fears of all the years. Over and over, the story of God's people is saturated with both expectancy and uncertainty. Do take a minute to ask yourself, what is the one hope I have? And what is the one fear I also have? The hopes and fears of all those years are met in thee tonight. That's Jesus. May Christ's incarnation, taking on human flesh, and his second coming cultivate honesty in your hopes and your fears, trusting that he knows and he cares for them all. I don't know about you, but praise God for how Christmas doesn't dispel every fear or fulfill every hope, but in the person of Jesus, hopes and fears are intersected. So as we come to the end of 2023, we certainly have our hopes and our fears. But God's answer to our anxiety can be found in that lowly manger in Bethlehem. There we find a baby who will bring us peace now, and one day will bring peace to the whole world. And as God does that in you, he will do it through you as well. And he's going to use you with all your confident hopes and fears. That's right. This song reminds us that this setting for the song is in the small, rural ancient Israel town called Bethlehem, a place where God works in unexpected ways through lowly, marginalized, and ordinary people who live in the tension, just like you live in the tension of our hopes and fears. And yet, this tension is exactly where we need God to show up, be it in the Middle East or the Midwest or somewhere in Africa or right here in Brewster, New York. We encounter moments when we feel small and helpless in the face of broken systems and broken spirits. So my blessing to you on this day is simply, God, lead us to the place where Mary laid her child, so that we may know that you choose the weak things of the world to confound the mighty. God bless you today.